What's going on, guys? It is your girl, Roxy. You see who I'm sitting here with. It is none other than the beautiful Becky G in the building. First, we got to give shout-outs to Cricket Wireless, and this is all for their customer appreciation party, sponsored by ZTE and Diza. That's how you say it. Diza. New York City in the building. We both flew from LA.
Yep.
Just to come out
Just
here.
to come here.
And you just told me before we got on camera that it's been 9 months.
Yeah, it's been like a long time since I've had like a full show. So I'm excited.
Okay, so what are your normal routine things that you do before you get in front of an audience?
A little bit of different things. I feel like comfort's the most important. So obviously in sound check we do lots of running through each song, making sure spacing is good because every stage is different, you know. But most importantly, we say a quick little prayer before we go on stage and have a good time. I feel like going in with the intentions of like whatever happens, like wardrobe malfunctions, all that stuff is the inevitable. Like sometimes it just happens, you gotta run with it. So I don't even like, so many people stress out about that, and me, I'm just ready to like see everybody. Yeah.
I would think that you're a really, really meticulous artist because you were out there during sound check for like 2 hours, guys, and I was like, okay, she's either really, really on it or she's nervous. So are you nervous or are you really on it?
I'm not nervous. I'm just like on it, and I just want it to be, I want it to be good, you know? I feel like, well, better than good. I want it to be amazing. Yeah, I feel like it's important as an entertainer to put on a good show, you know? And so I like, you know, crossing my T's and dotting my I's. Is that what they say? Yeah. So,
100%.
Yeah.
Worst wardrobe malfunction or worst malfunction right before you hit the stage? What do you remember?
I was performing at the Latin Grammys, and I was coming up on a riser, like the little toasters, but toasters pop up. The riser goes slow, and it can only go so low, so you still have to crouch down. And so I'm getting set, and it's live. And I'm getting set, and I have my costume on, which this is a mistake. I didn't rehearse with it on. And the moment I crouched down, I felt the lining of my pants just go.
Oh my god!
And I was backstage like, are my pants ripped? I'm like pointing to my butt, looking around everybody, and everybody's like, nah! And it's like going up slowly, and I'm like, show must go on.
Here we go.
Let's do this. And then the riser didn't. It was all funny. It was good. You wouldn't be able to tell, which is the best part. But
were the pants ripped?
yes.
Well, there you go. It was everybody that was at that show. What year of Latin Grammys was this?
This is like 2 years ago.
If you saw
yeah.
Becky G's G,
Booty.
let
Booty.
Tweet us
Booty
right
G,
now.
that's the new name.
Booty G. There you go. You started really early. You're only 20 years old.
Yeah.
So where did it all start? Like, how did the career start?
It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy that I've been doing a lot of reminiscing lately. And I started professionally working when I was like 9 years old, which is really young. I was kind of going through a hard time with my family. We had just lost our home. And we moved into my grandparents' garage in Inglewood, where I was born and raised. And we lived there for about 3 years. And it was tough because it's like, I've always been an old soul. So I was very aware of what was happening, but too young to actually do something about it. You know, I couldn't go to the grocery store and get a job back in groceries. Like, the best that I could do was just do a good job in school, but even then that was hard. And so I figured, what better way to help my family than entertain people? I love making people laugh. I love music. I love dancing. And so I Googled top 10 child agencies and what I needed. And I was like, Mom, I need headshots, I need this, I need that. And I jotted down a little paragraph contract. And I asked my parents, I said, hey, okay, give me 6 months. Let's try this out. If nothing happens, I will never bug you again. And if stuff does happen, then we'll negotiate, you know, we'll go from there. And I never stopped. I never stopped working. And at 14, I really feel was when things kind of took it up a notch and went to another level. And that was when I got discovered off of YouTube. Right. Off of making covers. I did a rap cover of Jay-Z and Kanye's Otis, rapping 30 bars straight. And I just watched the video for the first time in years. And I got very emotional because, like, the opening line is 15, nope, not yet. And I was 14 years old, already rapping like I've been through so much stuff. And I was like, little does little Bex know that, like, she's going to go through a lot more. And here we are. And I've been to so many different places and gotten to meet so many different people. And I just feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
What was that moment where your mom and your dad were like, thank God we got you those headshots. Thank God we took you on those auditions.
I think still it's kind of like there's a sense of normal. I'm very far from normal. But there's a sense of normality.
Like, what do you mean?
I'm just weird.
Okay.
Like, I'm just very, like, I can be very social, very people's person, and then I can be very introverted as well. I'm a creative mind, so like in normal situations, I can be very like awkward.
Okay.
It's just like, it's weird. I've become very aware of all that stuff, but I feel like from my family, like since I was a little girl, it's always been normal that Lil Bex is the one on top of the kitchen table singing to Christina Aguilera and Jennifer Lopez. Like, it was just in me, and if anything, my parents were more like, okay, we got 3 other kids. We don't know what to do with this little person, so we need some help, you know? And so it's nice that they support me from afar, you know? And when I come home, home is home. And I still think they're still processing it. Because, you know, leaving home and starting to travel the world at 13, 14 years old is a lot earlier than a lot of parents are ready. You know, you think 18, 19, your kids go to college, and I was already like on tour at 15 years old, calling mom like, hey, what's up? Yep, I'm in Germany. That's cool, whatever. So I think they're still kind of in it, you know, in processing it. But for me, I feel like I'm still kind of in it and processing it too, because it's just constantly like, go, go, go.
And when you were starting to do your music in Spanish, was that a strategic move, or was that, did y'all speak Spanish at home?
Yes and no. So the thing about Spanish music, to be honest, is like, everybody talks about artists doing the crossover, right? And I realized, like, I am the crossover. Like, I'm half Latina, half American. Like, I shouldn't have to choose between the two. And to be honest, growing up, when I listened to Spanish music, although I didn't speak Spanish perfectly, it was like the moment a song would come on, it just clicked to something in my soul and in my heart, and it was just like, whether it was cumbias, rancheras, merengue, salsa, reggaeton, it was
What were
just
you
like,
singing? I want to know what you were singing.
dale, dale, don, dale.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking. But like mariachi music, for instance.
Really?
Like, yeah, as a true Mexicana, like mariachi was like, I remember being like 11 years old and like crying when I'd hear
I was about to say, 'cause
mariachi.
that's mariachi is all a lot of.
Oh, yeah. It's like, to me, it's like the equivalent to like how English-speaking people listen to country music. Is very storytelling, right? And some people could take it as cheesy, but it's not. It's like, it's very vulnerable, real country music. And I feel like that's what mariachi music was for me. It was very vulnerable and very storytelling, and maybe a little dramatic, but I'm Latina, you know, I'm totally all about the little drama. So going into Spanish music felt super natural. And I feel like I really found myself as an artist because, you know, I think one of my biggest songs that really did change my life was my song Shower. And I was really thankful that that was my song, but at the same time, I feel like I've grown even more than that, you know? And it was a song that I think just kind of had a life of its own, you know what I mean? And like, instead of people knowing like, oh, that's Becky G, it was like, that's a singing in the shower girl. And I realized there was no substance, let alone identity, but I was only 15 years old. Like, I thought I knew who I was, but I feel like now I can talk about things that I've experienced and people actually believe me, you know, whether it's been heartbreak, falling in love, or just being a woman. Like, that shit's hard. I'm just being a real.
You got a long way to go, Miss
Oh, I
Thing.
know.
A long way to go. Speaking of, we got to go to social media right now. We got a lot of questions that came in from all your fans. They were tweeting in. I saw you tweeting too.
Yes.
So at Hotline Jazz V on Instagram says, how do you feel about my Yoda's doing so well, and how do you feel about getting unconditional support from all your loyal fans?
Ooh, okay, so 2 questions. First off, my Yoda is my latest single. I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy. I feel like we are starting kind of like a new era in my career, which is a little bit more grown. And I'm glad because I have a little bit more creative freedom. And with this song especially, like, I wanted to test people, and I wanted small-minded people to think a little harder, especially for women in urban music. In the Latin world, there's not many of us, and I feel like this song is so forward that people are like taken back, you know, and there's breaking necks, this song, and especially the music video too. So I'm just so happy that they loved it as much as I did. And as far as their support, I mean, I have fans that have been there with me since before I got signed. And, you know, this career is not easy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hurry up and wait. And there's a lot of things that are beyond your control. And that's really scary because, you know, for some artists, this is like a hobby, you know. They can, like, choose to not sing another song in their life and still go sleep in their mansion. And for me, this is my livelihood, you know. This is everything to me. Since I was 9 years old, I've made so many sacrifices. And I take responsibility for my family. So sometimes my career's in my hands, but it's also in the hands of the fans and you know, the suits as we call them. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot of strength, and to know that I've had them by my side the whole time is like the greatest feeling. So thank you.
100%. That's real talk. And then when you think about it, because your career has gone so many places, you mean modeling, singing, acting, you know, being this entertainer, being a social media entertainer also, you know. Which one would you say is your passion at the end of the day? If you can only pick one.
I would say music. I would definitely say the music, because it's about me. It's about me, and it's about what I want to say, and it's very therapeutic for me. And I realize that there's things that I may have moved on from in life, but I'm not really done with it until I write about it. And I realize, I could be talking about past relationships, or I can be talking about childhood experiences, and people see me as a happy person, but like I'm still dealing with it, and I invest that into my music. And I feel like that's so good, because people can understand me more as a human being, and not just as Becky G, the whatever, you know what I mean? The actress, singer, whatever. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I would say music.
Well, going back to music, at Lily_S on IG wants to know who inspired your new single, Mayoras.
My boyfriend.
Of course.
It sounds funny. No, it sounds super crazy, but Mayores basically means older guys, older people, older men, whatever it is that you're into, Mayores. And it started off as a joke, because when I first started dating my boyfriend, you know, the whole thing in the industry, it's like you either own up to it or you hide it, and hiding it is so hard. I've been there. And so I was like, all right, so we're going to post our first picture together on Instagram. Like, that's a big deal. And I remember it being like world news the next day, and I couldn't escape it. And even my grandma called me after she saw it on like a morning, like, chisme, like, Latin talk show, and she's like, pero cuántos años tienes? Estás con un hombre. And I was like, yeah, he's a man, but he looks much older than he is. He's only 24, and I'm 20. It's like a 4.5 year difference, but he looks like a couple years older than that.
Right.
So people started talking, and I was like, this is hilarious, and we kind of just took that and ran with it.
Just to be clear, there is no wedding set yet, right? Because there are rumors.
Yeah, I
going
know.
crazy.
I know.
You like it though.
Well, no, I mean, it's not. I'm Latina, of course. I'm like, okay, 5 years, 10 years, where are we going? I don't like to waste my time. But I've also learned to live in the moment. Like, my parents are high school sweethearts. It's all I've ever known, right? You fall in love and you're a ride or die, but I feel like now I've traveled enough and experienced enough to understand that not everything lasts forever. You got to enjoy it for what it is, and especially with my boyfriend, I feel like it's working for us, taking it step by step, and he's like my best friend first, so it's really all I can ask for.
So I'm going to ask the major question. Do you think he's the one?
Yes.
Breaking news, everybody. Breaking news. I know you guys want a lot more with Becky G, but unfortunately, she's got to go hit that stage. So keep it right here. We're going to have a lot more coming up. Woo. And thank you so much for chatting with me. This is the first time we get to actually sit down and have a kumbaya.
Yeah.
I got to find out as much as I could, but you guys can keep on sending your questions right now on Twitter, Facebook, on Instagram. We're still going to be checking them the whole entire time. And stay tuned. We got a quick message from ZTE.